Yo, what is up, guys? It's Cone back here with another video. Another nightly recap of the NBA action. Specifically, I want to talk about two teams, the Celtics and the Clippers. But as usual, I'm going to start real quick with a quick recap of all the games. I'm not going to talk about the Thunder game that much because I just did a whole video on that. So if you want to hear more about the Thunder game, go check out the video I just posted like an hour or two ago. I thought it was a pretty good video. I think I talked about some good stuff in there. Talked about Shea, who had a career high. Talked about Lou Dort, who's really good. And just about why I'm not upset that the Thunder have been winning games and why I won't be upset if the Thunder continue to win games. So go check that out if you want to hear more about it. Drop a like, drop a subscribe if you're feeling it. With that being said, first game of the night was we had the Bucks and the Mavericks. Really good game. Chris Middleton was incredible in this game. He was really their closer. Giannis had 31, but he shot 1 of 10 from the free throw line, which was not good. Luka had a good game. Kristaps had a decent game. He shot terribly, but he had some big plays. His game winner attempt was very, very off. A 3-pointer he tried to hit. Luka, that shot that he had at the end of regulation, I thought it was going in for just a second. It didn't go in, but for like half a second, I was like, man, did Luka just hit that? Obviously, he didn't because the Bucks ended up winning. The Bucks are good, man. I talked about the other day how people aren't talking about the Bucks, but now they're tied for first in the Eastern Conference. So don't forget about the Bucks, and it's cool to see the Mavericks playing good again, like really well with these good teams again now that Kristaps is back. And as he progresses from his injury, I'm sure he'll only be more effective. Then there was the Cavs and Knicks. Andre Drummond had a 30-20 game. Specifically, he had 33 and 23. He's building up his trade value, in my opinion. He's an expiring deal, even though he is making a lot of money. If some team wants to hand him a bag, a team that maybe wants to try and go all in on this, like on this season, if they want to be like, all right, we'll throw Drummond a bag, we'll test him out, because the Cavs honestly don't need him. They've got Jared Allen coming in. Once he clears like physicals and stuff like that, Jared Allen's going to play. So they don't need Drummond very much. He's not their center of their future. So if I were them, I would try and explore the trade market. I don't know how much you can get for Drummond. Like a team that I think could really use Drummond is Portland. Now that Yusuf Nurkic is hurt, out about 8 weeks with a broken wrist, I think we found out earlier today. But there's just no way to match Drummond's contract with the money that the Trailblazers have without giving up like a lot of their depth. So I don't know if that'll end up happening, but I mean, if they could find somebody to make it work, I think he'd be a decent fit on that team. It'd be like the Hassan Whiteside pickup that they made when Nurkic got hurt last time. But I think Drummond might be more effective than Hassan Whiteside at this point, especially since Hassan Whiteside's kind of just rotting on the Kings like bench at this point in his career, which is a really weird and like very sudden fall off. I kind of want to make a video about Hassan Whiteside because his like career path was very, very unique and different. But enough about that. Knicks had a good game. Just barely couldn't pull it out. Julius Randle had 28. Emmanuel Quickly so good. He had 20 tonight, or 23 tonight. Sorry. Have the stat sheet up down here just so I make sure I don't miss anything. But he was really good. Kentucky guards are just built different, man. Quickly's going to be a beast in this league. Knicks got to steal with them. Shout out to them. Then the Thunder Bulls game, like I said, go check out my video from earlier. If hopefully if I remember, it should show up like right here, right now. If you haven't went and checked it out yet, so if you want to hear more about that game, Jazz Hawks. I talked about the Jazz in a video a couple days ago. The Jazz are so good. They might not be up there with like the Lakers or the Clippers, but the Jazz are still really, really good. They've just been blowing teams out at this point. If a team doesn't come out to play, the Jazz are going to run you off the court, especially with Donovan Mitchell playing really well. Trae Young sucks right now. I don't know what's wrong with Trae Young. Ever since Steve Nash told him that he wasn't playing very well, or that like the way he played basketball wasn't how you're supposed to play basketball, his stat line is 13 points per game. This is in his last 4 games, by the way. 13 points per game, 29% from the field, 5% from 3, 7 assists, 3.5 rebounds, which, if you know Trae Young, is not Trae Young. So hopefully he gets back to the way he has been. Lakers Pelicans was a good game up until it wasn't. The Lakers just took over. This Pelicans team is weird. I feel like they should be better than they are. The Steven Adams pickup doesn't make a lot of sense to me. That team's spacing is terrible, and I think that they need a stretch big next to Zion, next to Ingram, to space out that floor more. So I don't know why they trade for Steven Adams. Like, I love Steven Adams, but obviously as a Thunder fan, former Thunder legend, I guess you could say, Steven Adams, I just don't know why they traded for him, though. I don't know. It doesn't make a lot of sense. Then we get to the Celtics against the Magic, and I guess I'll talk about this matchup and the Clippers game all in one because both of these teams won in blowouts, and I think I would title this video something like "Do not forget about the Boston Celtics and the LA Clippers," because both these teams are very, very good teams, but not a lot of people talk about them. I think that's just because they're like overshadowed in their conferences. Like the Clippers, I still think are probably the second best team out west underneath the Lakers. Um, they're really good, though. Do not forget about the Clippers. I'll talk about them first. They beat the Kings by 38 tonight. Paul George is having an MVP level season. And you might think I'm crazy for saying that, but I promise you I'm not. He's averaging 25.3, 6.1 rebounds a game, 5.2 assists, which is really impressive for him. Distributing the ball so far, easily his career high. Additionally, the big thing is that he's shooting 51% from three on 8.3 attempts per game, which is an unreal level of shooting. That's like the best shooting, easily the best shooting he's ever had in his career so far, on the second most attempts he's ever had. So shout out to Paul George. He's been an MVP candidate so far. If the Clippers were the one seed, I would argue he might be the MVP candidate. But obviously, the Lakers are still really good. LeBron, I think, is a top 3 candidate. Joel Embiid is probably my MVP leader right now because he's been incredible too. But Paul George absolutely belongs in that conversation. Kawhi's been good. Nicholas Batum is really good for this team, which is not something I expected to say at this point in his career. When he came off the Hornets, I was like, I guess they could make him work, but I mean, it's Nick Batum. He's kind of been rotting on the Hornets, and if you're rotting on the Hornets, then I don't know how much help you're going to be to a contending team like the Clippers. But honestly, he's been huge for them. He's had a lot of timely threes, averaging almost 10 points per game, 5.4 rebounds, and 3 assists, which is a lot. He's been a good playmaker for them, and he hits that corner three a lot. He's played that PJ Tucker type role for them, which is really all that team needs. They don't need much more than that, and he's really been holding down the fort with with a spot that they kind of needed last season. Marcus Morris struggled sometimes to knock down that shot. Nick Batum's just been good, and I'm happy for him because, like I said, he was kind of rotting on the Hornets, and he got a lot of crap for his contract, which isn't his fault. He wasn't the one who gave himself that contract. The Hornets gave it to him, and the Clippers have been making it work for him. So shout out to them for finding that piece. The Clippers do find talent in a lot of good spots. Luke Kennard was a good pickup. I still think Marcus Morris got signed to too much money for that team. I think Luke Kennard got signed to way too much money. But, if you win a championship, it doesn't matter. So do not forget about the Clippers. They're a really good team. I think that 3-1 deficit, the 3-1 lead blown to the Nuggets. God, I can't talk. I'm sorry. The 3-1 lead that they blew to the Nuggets, I think really dampened people on the Clippers and made them think that they're a joke again. I promise you this team's still good. I don't know if they're going to show up in the playoffs again. We won't know until the playoffs, but when that time rolls around, I guess we'll find out. But for now, don't forget about them. Additionally, the Boston Celtics are another team you should absolutely not forget about. The Orlando Magic got destroyed by them today. The Magic are super shorthanded. I don't blame the Magic. The Magic are struggling. Fultz is out for the season. Jonathan Isaac's gone. The poor Magic, man. I feel bad for them. They've just been dealt with so much injury, and they were already a team I felt was going to fall out of the playoff picture, and now they're definitely falling out of the playoff picture. They lost by, 27 points to the Boston Celtics today, like I said. But while they've been doing a lot of injury struggles, Boston's been dealing with COVID bad. Boston has not played that many games because of COVID, and I feel like every day a Boston game is getting suspended or postponed due to COVID. But when they have played, they've been really good. Specifically, Jason Tatum's been very good, and Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown has been the X factor for this team, and he's the reason why I believe that this team is still a threat in the Eastern Conference. Similarly to how with the Clippers, you have Kawhi Leonard, the best player. But you have another guy in Paul George who's considered the second, or the beta in that alpha beta dog type relationship that you have on a team like that. Paul George has low key been outplaying Kawhi Leonard so far, but he's the lesser name. Same thing with Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown's been low key outplaying Jason Tatum at times. Jason Tatum hits the big shots, but Jaylen Brown is averaging 25.8 points per game, 5.8 rebounds, 3.9 assists. He's having a great game. Plus, to go with the fact that he plays amazing defense. He's been one of the better perimeter defenders in the league. Not just this season, but for the past couple seasons, he's been a very good defender, and he's just turned into exactly what I think that the Boston Celtics could not have asked for better when they thought about drafting Jaylen Brown. When they were trying to decide what direction they thought he would go as a player, like their highest hopes for him. I think he's starting to reach those hopes, and I don't blame them at all for not at all considering putting him in a package for James Harden, because with the development he's shown at such a young age, growing with Jason Tatum, I don't blame him. I don't think that that's a player you have to give up for James Harden when you have the opportunity to let that core keep growing. Harden could play 2 seasons. You could maybe win a ring, but it's not guaranteed because you would be giving up Jaylen Brown. You'd be giving up depth like Marcus Smart. I think that they also asked for the Rockets, that is. And you give up that depth. You give up that defense in Jaylen Brown. You don't know if Kemba Walker's going to come back healthy. You already don't have much depth on that team. So I think you keep Jaylen Brown. You just work. You build out these guys. You've got other guys like you have Peyton Pritchard, who's been fantastic for them. I loved him at Oregon, so I'm glad to see him playing well. Shout out Fast PP, as he's called on Twitter. If you wonder why that is, it's because it was his old Twitter handle before people started calling him Fast PP, and then he changed it. I'm sure you can figure out why. But he's been good. Jeff Teague's been solid. Tristan Thompson's been solid. Marcus Smart's good. He's one of the best defenders, period, in the NBA. This team's just good. So please don't forget about the Boston Celtics. They're still a really good team, even though they have been missing Kemba Walker. And when he comes back, he's only going to make them more dangerous. But I just wanted to quickly shout out those two teams because I feel like they get overshadowed a lot by, like, for Boston, it's like Milwaukee, Philly, now the Nets, absolutely. Like, you talk about the Heat still being the reigning Eastern Conference champions. In the West, it's really like the Lakers, and then really no one else, I feel like. I feel like I hear about the Clippers not that much anymore. So, I don't know. I just wanted to give them a shout out. They both had really big games tonight I don't think I talked about the Kings side of it. I don't know where the Kings are going to go from here. They're going to miss the playoffs again. I don't know when they make the playoffs. I think Luke Walton's a bad coach and needs to go at some point, but that's up to the Kings, not me. So, with that being said, I'm going to end the video here. I appreciate you guys watching. In my last video, I said this, but I'm dealing with COVID right now, so I'm a bit like lower energy. So I apologize if I'm breathing at all during these times. I'm just trying to catch my breath real quick, or if I'm, like I said, I'm lower energy. I apologize, but I'm going to keep getting these videos out because I really enjoy doing them, and I have 10 days now to do literally nothing but sit in my room and record content. So y'all are going to be getting a lot of videos, a lot of these double uploads. And with that being said, I will see you guys later. Real one, say it back.